Hello, everybody. So, a lot of students ask me all the time about giving better presentations, especially in an academic environment when you're presenting your own research for professors or for other students in class. And recently, we had a series of presentations at my university from graduate students who are doing their presentations of sort of research in progress and giving a chance to faculty and other students to give them some comments. And let's say there were some problems and some things that could be improved in those presentations. So I wanted to do a little bit of a sort of guideline on how you can improve your presentations within an academic environment. Now, the kind of presentation I'm talking about here are presentations that are oriented towards your research, like a senior thesis or a particular research article that you've written, maybe presenting at a conference or presenting for your faculty or your other students. Normally, these presentations are around 10 to 15 minutes long. They're not a long 30-minute or 45-minute lecture. So you really have to get down to content really, really quickly and give a short preview of whatever it is you're talking about. So those are the kinds of presentations that I'm really talking about today. And a lot of those presentations are done by graduate students and students who are trying to get into the academic field or going to conferences by professors. So there are really two parts to this discussion I want to have. One involves the presentation that you're making, and the other involves any slides or any other visual presentations that you put next to you. In terms of your presentation that you're making, the important thing, there are just a few important things that you need to get across during these presentations, these academic presentations. The first thing you need to get across is your question. What is your research question? What are you trying to understand? So we know where you are in the field, right? What is the purpose of your presentation? The second part you need to get across is sort of the answer to that question, because really we want to know the results. Now, this isn't the kind of presentation where you're going to, tease us along until we get to the end and then you tell us this dramatic result at the very end of the presentation. These academic presentations are designed in a way to tell us exactly what you did and what you found so that we can go and talk to you about it afterwards or read your paper if we're interested. And the third thing you might do is backfill any of the other information that you need to in order to fill in the gaps between the question and the answer. So when you're doing this, you might talk about methodology or some theoretical literature that you used, important hypotheses or theories. But really the important thing, again, is to focus on the question and the answer. What did you find so far? Now, academic presentations generally have something about methodology or something about theory, and justification, of course, is very important. So you need to justify why you're doing the research that you're doing within the academic literature or a practical perspective. But again, you need to focus on the question and the answer. Those are the really most important thing to get across. Now, you can probably get across no more than 3 main points, 3 ideas for someone to remember those ideas, right? So you want to give us the question, 3 conclusions that you found, talk about them maybe, how you found them, where they come from, some hypotheses or something like that, and then reiterate that again at the end, the question and the 3 answers that you found. So that's really how a good academic presentation can be structured. Now, in terms of the slides and what you might put next to you, it's really important to use those slides as sparingly and as judiciously as possible. And what I mean is that you shouldn't really focus on the slides as much as you should focus on your talk. It's only 10 to 15 minutes, so you should be able to remember what you want to talk about. And it's your project, so you should know everything there is to know about your project. I mean, if you really have trouble, you can always get some notes and write some notes on note cards. I mean, when I was a kid, we had note cards. We didn't have PowerPoint presentations. So you shouldn't use it as a textual prompt for your own presentation. You shouldn't be reading the text off of your slides. It should be visual. You should use it for imagery, for graphs, for charts. Even just a picture of something related to your project would do a little bit of better job than putting up some text at all. If you want to give some textual information to your audience, it's much better to focus on a handout. You can create a 1-page handout, maybe double-sided, put your name and information on top, and give them a little outline of your project. And you can hand it out to people as they come in. And the beauty of that is that they're going to be reading it while they're watching someone else's boring presentation, right? So they're looking at your stuff while they're watching someone else's boring presentation. The slides themselves, should be less important than your talk, and so it should really be complementing your talk, a visual presentation, some example graphics or charts rather than some text presented on a screen. I mean, even if you did a presentation and only presented your title slide and then you gave your talk, that'd be a lot better than most of the presentations I see, which have just so much text and so much non-graphic presentation, and then so many slides. They're just flipping through slide after slide after slide, and we forget to listen to the person because we're spending all our time reading what's on the slide. So hopefully those tips will give you a little bit of an idea of how to make a better presentation, especially in academia. And hopefully my grad students will watch this, and other grad students will watch this and give some better presentations at conferences and for your professors.